Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another podcast. I'm Susan Rowlen, and today's guest is Stefanie Ignoffo from Plantspiration. I am so honored to have you as a guest today. Stefanie, welcome.
Susan, thank you so much. Humbled to be here, really. I can't believe you're asking me to be here today.
Are you kidding? You. I am humbled that you're here. So there you go.
Gratitude pouring out my eyes.
Well, I have to tell you, for everybody that's tuning in, you are going to love this show because of what Stefanie represents. And you represent a way of eating and teaching the world how to best look at your body, love your body as a temple, and what you're going to put into it.
Exactly what I do. I didn't realize that there was a Ferrari underneath here, but there is, and now I have made it my life's mission to educate, motivate, and inspire people to change their lifestyle.
And it's working.
It's working really well.
I have people that I have sent you, and they are saying that no more do they have thyroid problems, cholesterol, sugar, diabetes. Yes, is it possible for somebody who is a diabetic to wake up and say, hey, I've been doing the work, and guess what? My levels are normal.
Yeah, it's very possible. Type 2 diabetes is one of the most reversible with my people. People who learn how to eat properly. Heart disease, even late stage autoimmune kidney disease.
Wow.
Erectile dysfunction, PCOS, infertility, cancers, how to fight cancers. I just had a guest speaker on last night. 4th stage kidney cancer reversed on a whole food plant-based lifestyle.
And I believe in that very much. I remember when I was in my 20s and I was coming from California and I was sitting with a very prominent person that I can't reveal. And I really believed that there was a cure for cancer. Okay. And so many people just never think that. You need the chemo and the radiation. And I'm one that does not believe in that for me. Now, what anybody else wants to do, I'm okay with. I respect it. But I always thought, God forbid if I got it, I don't think I would be a candidate because of so many things in my body, what I'm allergic to. Yeah. But I truly believed that there is a cure for cancer. I do.
Yeah, I've seen it. So we really don't talk in the medical industry.
No.
They're not talking about root cause, what promotes it. Breast cancer, for instance, I do classes, 95% are food related, and
yes.
It's one of the most preventable, and prostate cancer. So since they're not teaching this in medical school, I'm now teaching doctors and dietitians and nurses how to get this updated information that's vital. I think it's almost criminal that we're not talking about it more openly and giving people the option. Plants may not be for everyone, but they work for everyone, and everyone has a right to know.
My father used to teach me a lot about the plants because my father used to have a lot of farmland based where he was raised, and sort of a horticulturist type of a person, and he used to tell me all the little simple ingredients and how to get rid of this or how to do this. And he was the first person that taught me to sit next to a tree, hug a tree, climb a tree because of the tree's vibrations.
I'm learning all these things. I learned to eat them first, then I started being able to pick up more of, well, you kind of hinted to me. I've got some things that I could work on, and the more open I was to it, the more cleaner I got, the more open I started becoming to these things, the trees, the vibrations, how much energy we eat from the plants, the sun on it, the water, consuming these things, not only the nutrients, but the energies are magical.
I agree with that. And going back to even the cancer, I have people that are very on the wellness, and they have done some juicing and all of these things through plants, and they said it made a difference. And seriously, when I was sitting next to this gentleman on the plane back in my early 20s, he agreed. He said there is, but nobody talked about it. So that's why I say I love that you are coming and you're educating people, because I'm all about that. I'm also all about small children. This is a very big commodity right now that needs to be addressed. Children that have learning disabilities, mental disabilities, because I do say that these are allergies to the brain. The way your physical can be allergic, so can your mental.
I agree 100%. I have many people who are
Yes.
coming out and saying in my group that they are not taking their antidepressants. They've gotten off of them
See?
after 20 years. That's not one or two.
Wow.
It's several that we're seeing. Amazing things happen. When we're getting all these nutrients in our body, it does some incredible stuff to our gut. Fiber heals our gut.
Absolutely.
America is obsessed with protein, but we should be obsessed with fiber since 97% of us are lacking. When we get that gut biome in order, or that gut, that gives off more serotonin than our brain, our gut. So we really do need to talk about healthy guts and feeding our guts, but it all starts with what you put on your fork, and that's what I show people. They're usually afraid they're going to have to give up stuff.
Yes.
But
you have to be,
no.
but it's a great point, and I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but
yeah.
honestly, when I've told people, because my daughter had autism when she was young, she was on the spectrum, her auditory was severely impaired. And the first thing I started to do was start looking at various different therapies. But the one thing that I noticed, even with autistic children, they are very gluten and dairy sensitive. So taking all of that out of her diet meant a lot. I remember she was 7, and she said, "My mind doesn't feel like I'm in the clouds anymore," she said. That was the best way that she could say that to me. And I says, "Really?" She says, "I would try to remember things and it would be foggy." And I says, "And how do you feel now?" She goes, "I feel great." Now, this was a kid that had a pooping
You were
problem.
on to something back then.
Yeah.
Now I understand the science of it. The
Yes.
inflammation that goes on
Yes.
within every little thing in our body. Gluten is an inflammatory to people for the body, for the most part. Animal proteins is an inflammatory.
Right.
And I go by what the studies, the research, there's many studies out there that talk about right now, even broccoli, high doses of broccoli, doing some really impactful things to autism. Like they're using words like cure or no symptoms anymore of autism.
Love that.
So lots of cruciferous vegetables, cauliflower, broccoli. I believe broccoli is the main one. There's studies from nutritionfacts.org. So I only talk about and support what science supports.
Would you recommend that the vegetables be organic?
It's best, but there's a couple things that go on. The main thing I teach is once we remove the animal protein, then we're consuming all these vegetables. If you can buy all organic, great, but we do not need to have all organic in order to prevent and reverse disease. Organic is best. We definitely want to, think about what's being put on our stuff, but it's more of the nutrients and the fiber that we're getting for the plants that are the reason that we're healing lots of these diseases. Organic is best because of the chemicals, but I don't want people to get discouraged that, well, I can't buy all organic, so I can't do this. People are reversing these diseases with canned foods. Frozen foods are actually one of my number one recommended. They're flash frozen, right from the get-go when they're picked. So this really retains the most of the nutrients if we're talking about stuff like that. But, when they travel across the country, we're losing a lot of nutrition for days they're sitting there. So if you're really looking for things like organic and what's the top of the line, frozen, organic, you're really going to get a lot of benefits down to the itsy-bitsy important stuff right there.
Okay, because I have a lot of people that this is the number one that I get. I can't afford it if I have to do organic. And that's why I wanted to raise this question to you, because I have a lot of people.
It's a great question.
Yeah, because they think this. And I don't want them to stop doing something
Correct.
that would really improve.
It's a
They
great
need to do
question. It's the number one thing that comes up. Well, I can't buy all organic. Well, you don't have to. See, rice and beans can reverse disease. Okay, so not only is this the healthiest, it's the most sustainable, not just for health, but the planets and the animals. So, yeah, you can reverse disease and see a massive impact with a non-organic, plate.
I know that it has such a benefactor to everything on the body, but what is the one thing that you see that happens immediately with going on a plant-based diet?
Inflammation within days.
Within days.
24 hours.
So people that have rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune, anything with arthritis, bursitis,
Days.
sciatica, immediately.
Days.
Wow.
And 10 out of 10. If you stop eating what you're eating currently on the standard American diet and you modify it to putting more beans in place of your animal, more, fruits, vegetables, potatoes, pasta, fruits, vegetables, grains, greens, you're going to feel great. And there's no limit. There's no dieting. There's no counting calories. There's no weighing. There's no measuring. It's a smorgasbord of plants all day long.
So what are they supposed to do? So you're saying a plant-based diet. So this is going to be no meat.
No meat.
What
no
else?
animal.
No animal at all.
If it has a mother or a face, I would keep it off your plate.
Okay. All right. So no meat. What is, I'm not going to ask you for recipes, but for a person that really feels that they have to have meat. So this would be no chicken.
No chicken.
No turkey.
No turkey.
Okay. See,
I'm going
I
to tell
want
you
to be
why,
real
though.
specific.
Yep.
Yeah.
No animal. If it has a mother or face, we're talking, this is a problematic animal protein that gets in our body. And within minutes, we start creating something called angiogenesis, where it grows blood vessels to our cancer cells. Animal protein, within minutes, not only does that, but it also starts causing damage to our endothelial lining, which is the life jacket to our artery. Then we've got cholesterol and saturated fat from animals. Plants don't have these things. Plants do not contain cholesterol, and they're an anti-inflammatory to our body. Whereas animal is the opposite. So once we start putting the animal in us, it just starts the inflammation. Your arteries are going to feel it. They start clogging it up. We've been told our whole life, don't put baking grease down the drain.
That's right.
But we're putting it down our throat.
Wow.
So they're clogging something up down there. Erectile dysfunction, by the way, is one of the first signs of a heart attack. If we've got arteries this small getting clogged up down here, then we know that they're clogging up the bigger ones. Wow. There's an amazing doctor out here, a Chicago doctor, Dr. Terry Mason. He was a urologist out here, and he's now out advocating for whole food plant-based to reverse erectile dysfunction. It's more of a food-related, we're clogging up these arteries, which are also connected to brain function and dementia and Alzheimer's. More and more studies are coming out that when we take these animal foods out, so turkey, chicken, skinless chicken I thought was healthy every day.
And it's not.
45% saturated fat. There's no fiber in any animal, but when we go to a plant-based, we've got our lentils, which we can make burgers out of, tacos out of, pizzas, lasagna. If you guys are thinking you're going to be eating salads, you're wrong. We're eating everything. Let me show you how to do it, though. It gets overwhelming out there. Plant-based on chicken products, vegan at Burger King. These are not the foods that are reversing disease. They're helpful transition foods, but they're not healthful when it comes to really digging down for the disease.
What are your thoughts on milk from cow?
100% carcinogen we're putting in our body. One of the largest foodborne cancers in food is in cow's milk. It's made for a 300-pound calf, not a 6-pound infant.
I agree.
We're the only being that takes milk from another being.
Exactly. It's not fit for human consumption.
Not fit. But I'll tell you what is. Soy milk. It's been getting a bad rap, but soy milk's one of the biggest cancer fighter foods. It's what I use to help people with thyroid disease, thyroid conditions, hormone imbalances. Soy is one of the biggest cancer fighters out there, and a rumor started many years ago, but the research continues to go back. If we look at Japan, they didn't have a high rate of cancer. They didn't even have a word for hot flashes until the Western diet came in. Now the rise of autoimmune, heart disease, cancers in Japan, which predominantly ate soy and vegetables. So we know just by looking at Japan alone what the Western diet can do to people. It's completely changed.
So for those people that have iron deficiencies, okay, we were always taught red meat.
Sure.
Protein. Okay. What is your say on that?
I love this question. So I would say to whoever asks, where do you think the cow got their iron and their protein from?
I don't know.
The plants.
Okay.
Beans have iron.
Okay, so
plants have
I
all
figured
the protein.
plants, but okay.
I want people to write this down. All plants contain protein. All protein comes from plants. This is where the animals are getting. I know you're thinking lions right now.
No,
but the
I love
lions are getting their protein from the gazelle that ate the plants. Protein comes from plants.
Well, you know what my father said a long time ago, because his father was a MD, all right? And then he got bored with that profession, if you can believe it. And he got more satisfaction being a dentist slash orthodontist, okay? He taught my father a long time ago that our teeth are meant to be vegetarian.
True.
Okay?
Very
The
true.
reason why people have teeth problems is because you are sicking yourself with meat. And our teeth are not made for that. Is that true?
Very true. So meat does not give us strong bones and teeth.
No.
We've been lied to. It's
Yeah.
actually calcium that comes from plants, beans, stuff like that. So I always like to say, if they would have just called them plant sizers instead of incisors,
Right.
we wouldn't even have this discussion.
So this is true because my
Very true.
father, I mean, he's deceased now, but I hear my father's words every day. And
Yeah.
my father would say to me, don't eat the meat
True.
because it's going to ruin your teeth. And by the way, I mean, I'm going to be 59 in August. I've had one cavity my whole
amazing.
life.
Yeah.
One cavity.
He's right on. I mean, if anybody wants to look further into it, the research is there. The movie The Game Changers does a really excellent side-by-side and gets into even the gladiators were predominantly plant-based. You know,
Interesting.
there's
Okay.
so much that goes back 70 years. You know, World War II, they took away the livestock, and we saw cancer, you know, go down, heart disease go down, diabetes go down. When
Yes.
they brought the livestock back in, we saw the disease rise. So for whatever age range we're at, we know the history is there that we could prevent and reverse disease just by changing what we put on our plate.
I so agree
But there's
with
no
that.
money in
No.
getting healthy.
No, there isn't. And I've said this. I'm one of the few parents that lobby Congress of what they're putting in all of these shots. I'm not against them, but I'm against what they're putting and they're overloading. And we need to take a little bit of a break here and there to what you're doing.
Yeah, follow the money.
Yeah, I just think, when I was a kid, when I got a measles vaccine, it was just measles. It wasn't measles, mumps, rubella, ba-ba.
Exactly.
I just think that we have to take care of our bodies and we cannot overload them.
I could not agree with you more. So
Yeah.
we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I've yet to see anybody discuss that 97% of the deaths are from chronic disease, okay? Those deaths that are caused from coronavirus are from pre-existing
Absolutely.
conditions
Hands
that
down.
can be prevented and most reversed on a whole food plant-based diet. So if you look at the CDC at the top 10 deaths, 8 out of the 10 deaths can be prevented or reversed on a whole food plant-based diet. So we should be talking about how to prevent these diseases and how to take care of the chronic diseases that people are walking around with right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to see my face on commercials and across your TV soon.
It will be.
On top of
It will be.
all these other places. A lot of people say, Stefanie, I don't think it's right that you're shoving your views down,
Oh,
down
no,
our
these are
throat.
facts.
I said these are not only facts, but McDonald's is shoving views, Burger King is shoving views, everybody's shoving their views. I need to get the facts out so we can see the truth, is
I
what
agree.
I say.
I agree.
In my group every day, people are reversing these diseases, and I say it very loosely, like, oh yeah, heart disease, we're reversing it. It's that often. These need to be talked about daily. I want these people to be seen every day. This is commercials. Could you imagine if you guys were seeing commercials of, hey, Plantspiration, Tommy just reversed his cholesterol in 3 weeks.
They don't want that.
Well, no, you know that Donna Summer song, I work hard for the money. I work hard for no money. But
Because it's a passion.
It's the reward
Yeah.
is saving lives and teaching people how to save their lives, and then it's a pay it forward. When you have done it,
Yes.
now look, everybody is interested.
I want to talk a little bit about the mental disabilities because this is a big thing. There's a lot of people that are very angry. They're very moody. They suffer from bouts of depression. You have children now as young as 2 years old suffering from depression. Yes, people, 2 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. They're having anger attacks.
Yeah.
They're having all of these things. People can't control their children.
Yeah.
I definitely believe as much as our body is a temple, so is our mind.
We need to practice mindfulness. Again, if you think about the blue zones and the science behind people who live in these predominantly, they live longer. The longevity is into the hundreds. Loma Linda, for instance, in California is one of 7 blue zones in the world. They weren't affected by coronavirus like the people outside of these areas. Not only are they predominantly eating a whole food plant-based diet, they practice mindfulness, like you're saying. They're surrounded by positive people. They practice stress management, meditation, praying, and they surround themselves with positive things. This plays a key role in what you're talking about. And I think we're in so much chaos. Shut your TVs off, folks.
Yes, and yes.
Start focusing on the good things. Have gratitude, like you said. If we were teaching our children more of this, we would see less of that chaos. We're feeding them not just the food, but those vibes, those energies, and that information that gives them that anxiety and that depression.
I agree.
Yeah, it's
It
learned to some degree.
I do. I believe that. I believe that also when you put something in your mouth, what is going to be the side effect to how it's making us feel? How are we able to concentrate? The fogness, all of these things. I do believe in that. I do believe that there are power things that pick us up and make us feel better. Can we feel happy with what we eat? Can it actually make us happy? The endorphins. Yes, I do believe that.
100%.
Okay.
I work a lot with people with food addictions. So
Yeah.
food can be addicting.
Oh, sure.
Meat is addicting. Oil is addicting. And let's not forget cow's milk. Casomorphin is in cow's milk. It's in all milks. It is what kind of makes the baby want to get drunk off your milk, okay?
Yeah.
But for a cow milk, you know how much of that is in there for an infant? It's why they say we shouldn't give cow's milk to infants. It could, there's so much of it in there. It's also just as addicting as a drug. It sets off the same things in our brain. So there are some studies out there that if, what is that, what they give? Yes, people who have overdoses, if you give somebody the same drug, their addiction for chocolate and sugars, it doesn't happen. So we know that these foods trigger the same chemicals in the brain as drugs, so we keep going back to them. For people who are trying to transition or have a hard time, that's what I like to work with. Is it's not all your fault. We've become addicted to these foods. This can change by changing what we put on our plate. In 3 weeks, 3 months, we can change our biochemistry in our body. We can fix our gut biome. We can absolutely change the way that our brain is functioning, the fog, just by thriving off the immense amount of nutrition that's coming from a plant-based diet.
Let me ask you this. For a young mother that's watching, what kind of milk would you give a child?
Soy milk. Soy milk is the most...
I gave that to my daughter probably her whole adolescent, and then I heard it was cancer causing. But she had estrogen as well.
Well, there's phytoestrogens in soy, and that's where the misconception came in. A scientist made a mistake and said that this was causing us to have more of that, when actually it's not.
Okay.
It actually helps balance out our hormones, and if people are worried about hormones, then we should be worried about weight, because excess weight is what produces those excess hormones that promote cancers.
That makes so much sense.
We get people to get their weight down, and then we get their body in balance by eating a balanced plate, including some soy, and we see miraculous stuff. I don't even want to say miraculous anymore, because we know it happens. It's not a miracle. Eat the plants, prevent and reverse your disease. It's black and white.
So true. I mean, this is God, I can listen to you all day, because this is something, seriously, because I do believe in this. I believed in this since probably 1989 is when I started getting on board to understanding what food does to the physical as well as the mental.
Very
and
much
I
correlation.
believe in that. And I know a lot of times people look at the physical, but they also need to look at the mental aspects to the side effects that you're putting into your children.
100%.
I'm big on this, and I tell this to people all the time. You don't need to medicate your children when you can, this is something, just take the time to educate yourself.
I've worked with kids with autism. We've seen significant improvement in short times of removing dairy, removing
Yes.
animal proteins. That inflammation goes down within 24 hours. Sensory disorders calming down. When that body is not, it's almost like our bodies are on fire on a standard American diet.
Yeah.
We're on fire. Heart disease, autoimmunes, kidney diseases. This is fires. I come in and I show you how to put those fires out.
You do, and that's what more parents, but I think, we have a cross here. We have parents that just don't want to do the work because they're too busy and it's just too easy to just eat this stuff.
Sure.
Or you've got parents that just truly don't know.
They don't know.
I remember when people come to me and I can see if so-and-so wets the bed, get them off the dairy.
Oh,
In
wow,
3 days, you are going to see your child stopping to wet the bed because dairy is too rich for a small child's kidneys.
It's so much stress on our body. Can I drop some sources? Because I drop amazing
Please
sources.
do. We would love to have those.
Nutritionstudies.org, nutritionfacts.org, PCRM.org. You can just type in these types of questions and find this information with the studies, peer-reviewed studies. This is information that is not funded by anybody. These are nonprofit organizations that weed through the medical information. They're working for the people. They're trying to find this information for us. I'm just funneling it out and delivering it out in a mom-to-mom way. I'm a mom of 3 kids. We transitioned our family while they were in 8th grade and in high school, and 8-9 years later, my kids are all plant-based. We've stayed vegan, and they're grateful for it. This is a paradigm shift and one we should all be on. If you're not sure how to transition, that's why I'm out here talking to these moms. It can be done. If your kids like noodles, get them noodles. Peanut butter and jelly, vegan. It's so many ways.
It's funny because I love this magazine. Stephanie was on Woman's World, and she's got a picture of the whole Ignoffo family losing 250 pounds and kept it off.
Yeah, I didn't even get to that part yet.
How impressive. And this is just really something to see
you.
because I cannot congratulate. This is the first of many.
This is mainstream. This is really huge that I've gotten mainstream.
Yeah.
I work with Dr. Neil Bernard. He's the founder of Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, the PCRM.org. Again, this doctor just got together with a bunch of doctors and said, we've got to let people know. We should be teaching this. So he's making huge moves with legislation and laws. Doctors and hospitals in New York are now plant-based. Their schools are becoming more plant-based options. When we don't have these lobbyists pushing these milk and dairy into the school, if you think I'm pushing it, I'm not. I'm pushing you guys to make informed medical decisions, to look at the research, to look at what's out there, okay? Your kids don't have a choice when they're going to the grocery store. They're not doing the research. They're not reading the labels. That's your job. What you bring home is what your family will eat. And that story in the Women's World magazine explains how I thought, well, first of all, this was the dumbest idea that there ever could be. You know that, right? You know the story? My daughter came home, said she wanted to go vegan, and I thought, she's going to die. Where is she going to get her protein? Where is she going to get her calcium?
Yeah, because we're programmed to think that.
Yeah. We all do. Well, we all do, and I empathize with people because it's the first question that we get, and I say, I know, I thought the same thing, like, how are we going to get it? But when I realized that beans actually provided more calcium, I thought, well, let's get into some beans, and it changed our life. My kids were suffering right behind me. I thought being overweight was hereditary and high blood pressure was hereditary. My doctor told me I would be stuck on these medications forever. Well, guess what I found out? It's not as genetic as we think. Genes may load the gun, but food pulls the trigger. And we learn genetically how to eat, and I want to change that for these families. We can drastically change the outcome of your kids' lives, your lives, and you'll save money because it's peasant food. Rice and beans, frozen vegetables.
Very
it's
true.
Easy.
Very, very true. And I definitely agree with all of this. All of what you're saying, it makes sense. And I I see it in so many people. I've seen it even in myself where there were periods where I ate terrible. And I'll be the first one to say it. I was horrible. But I think I learned because of the child that I had.
Yeah.
And that's what got me going, because I was on a mission because of her.
Yeah.
And then everything started to open, and it just made more sense. And
Yeah.
honestly, this is what I see. And I love that more people are coming together. More people are going to start. Listen, I remember talking, I have a lot of doctor friends, and I remember one of my wellness functional doctors said, do you know how much wellness that we get taught in med school?
8
3
hours.
weeks.
Yeah, nothing.
3 weeks. That's it.
And you know what they learn about?
Barely.
How to treat rickets, which we really don't see anymore.
Yeah.
They learn about things like that. I really like to explain it this way. And
Sure.
God bless us. We
Sure.
need doctors. They're amazing.
Oh, no,
They're awesome.
I do. But the way that they are pumping
their
us with
fault.
meds and putting a Band-Aid on it, you are not taking the root of the problem. I don't want to feel good today. I want to feel good for life.
Perfect example. So if you have a leaky faucet
Yeah,
and it's leaking all over,
Mm-hmm.
how many days are you going to be wiping that up?
exactly.
You're going to call a plumber to come in and fix it.
Yes.
I'm the plumber.
Yes, you are.
We're done with the leaks. We're done with the Band-Aids. We're reversing disease without
Absolutely.
medications.
That's
Let me
right.
make that clear. People are getting off medications. They've been on 20, 30 years. Insulin, metformins, cholesterol pills, high blood pressure pills. These things are being eliminated within 3 weeks of transitioning. 3 weeks. I had a guy whose A1C was over 12. That's massive. That's 400 blood sugars, cholesterol's out the roof. In 3 weeks, we had him off all his meds. Cholesterol, metformin, insulin, high blood pressure, and in 3 months his A1C was down to a 7. Doctors won't write that down.
What does that say? There you go.
They won't write it down.
No, they won't.
But my guy's off his meds. He's down 50 pounds. He feels great. His wife's autoimmune is in control. Everybody's feeling better, and this is spreading. You know, just like the paradigm shift of cigarettes. Doctors used to suggest cigarettes. They used to talk about it. We could smoke in hospitals, but that's changed because science told us something's wrong with this. And science is telling us over and over and over. Back to Pritikin in the 70s, when you were probably picking up on it, there was a Dr. Pritikin who was reversing disease with plants in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. I
You
definitely.
were on it.
I was in my early 20s. I couldn't have been more than 22. I think 22. It was very early. And coming back from California, and I was sitting with the chief of something, you know, that I can't say who it was. And I said, don't tell me there isn't a cure for cancer. And he just looked at me. And I remember, you know, we had a 3-hour delay in Denver because, I don't know, something happened with the plane. So we had to wait. And we grabbed dinner at the airport. And we were maybe together, maybe 7-8 hours.
Wow.
And when we left, I said, what a pleasure it was to meet you. He went his way, I went my way, and he goes, oh, Susan. I go, yeah. He goes, what you said earlier. I go, I'm thinking, well, we talked so much about so much. He goes, the C word? You're right. And he turned his back and kept walking.
It's serious. For
I
me,
will never forget that. I
Yeah.
told you that story, Travis, and it's an amazing story because I knew deep down there is a cure for cancer. I don't believe in all the stuff that it's doing to your bodies of what they're injecting. You know, I have so many nurses as clients, and a lot of them have walked away from traditional and have gone to functional medicine, and they specialize in nutrition to help, you know, cancer patients and what they need more of. And that's another thing, you know, for people that are, and I feel so bad, from little children to adults, and you're seeing more and more children getting cancer, by the way, that you never used to see before.
agree.
So they're trying to tell them, look, you know, your son needs this, your daughter may need more of this, take away this, but you are much more in depth than what you do. So, you know, a nutritionist is one thing, sitting down with a nutritionist, but I highly recommend to everybody that's watching today, and I mean everybody, re-watch this 2 and 3 times. Get your pad, write down what Stefanie has been telling you, because I'm a big note taker when it comes to these things. But you need to do your homework, because this is so important. You are going to change and add how many more years, quality years. That's the thing.
Improving quality of life.
Yeah, I don't want to live till I'm 100 if I am depleted and I am sicker than a dog. This to me is not quality of living.
I say to people, I used to think that getting older meant getting bigger and getting sicker.
Yeah.
But if you go in Plantspiration, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
We've got 80-year-olds jogging again. True story.
I believe
I'm seeing
that.
stuff that I'm even like, wow, goals for me. I just turned 50, and what most
You look
people
great.
don't know is I'm only 5'2", and my heaviest was 278, and I hovered around 220 most of my life. I was always obese.
Okay.
Always dieting.
Okay.
Always going to Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, keto, Atkins. None of those reverse disease. We may be able to lose a little bit of weight with those, true, but you can lose weight doing cocaine. That doesn't make it healthy.
True.
So I like to teach people, hey, we wear our seatbelt every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody out here should be wearing their seatbelts. It's smart to buckle up. It's smart to keep ourselves safe. Even though we're not getting in accidents every day, we should start looking at food this way.
I agree, because you know what? When you do that, you know, when I look at people that can't walk, okay.
I was one of them.
Okay, so you could relate more than anything, because
yeah.
you experienced the aches and pains and wobbling.
Facing double knee replacements. I have
Oh.
a permanent handicap sticker on
Wow.
my car and the rails on the side of my toilet.
Did you really?
Yeah, the portable, like, let me just get them in here, because I thought, let's make jokes about it. I'm 40 years old, but it was reality. It was reality. It was happening. We were in our 9th surgery in 11 months when I went back to this documentary, Forks Over Knives, because I thought my daughter was going to die. You know, how was she going to survive? I came across this documentary. It said Forks Over Knives. Whatever. I'm not doing it. But 6 months later, we're coming home from our ninth surgery. I'm sitting my family down, and when watching this movie, it said, this movie can save your life. I thought, maybe if I lose weight, I could get a job, I could kind of help out, because we're about to lose everything. We were just surgery after surgery, sick after sick, doctor appointment after doctor appointment. And I watched this movie, and it didn't just talk about losing weight. It talked about reversing disease and how food causes it and how food can reverse it. And I'm looking at my family, I'm thinking, man, I did this. I'm bringing this stuff home. I'm cooking it and putting it in front of them. We don't want to put cigarettes in front of our kids. We don't put alcohol in front of them. We do all these things to keep our kids safe, but we forget how important that plate is. Mm-hmm. So can we see disease reverse? Absolutely. Cancer is very food related. We know we can turn our cancer cells off and on with animal protein and plant protein, and anybody can check that out. It's the 20-year China study by T. Colin Campbell. This information has been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm. But it's never been promoted enough.
No, but I'm here to do that.
Yes, you are.
I'm here to do that. I want people to know.
Wow.
And even if you're watching and you're thinking, this is not for me, maybe your neighbor.
That's right. It may not be for you, but there might be a neighbor, like you said, a
coworker.
Yeah, a child, because children never get to choose when they're children.
They
they're
don't.
stuck with the choices that we as adults give them. So I always say, be mindful what you're
Yes.
doing to them.
And what you say and what you surround them with.
Absolutely.
They're watching.
And they're
Everything.
sponges. They absorb everything. But just think about the habits that you're instilling from this. I say this when I see people that are really into the food, they need to change their relationship with food.
Oh, yeah.
That's what needs to change. So it comes from the mindset first, because you can't do this if you're not ready here.
True.
I believe that.
True, you have to be ready.
You have to
I
be
don't
ready.
sell anything. These people
No.
don't know. I'm not selling
No,
anything.
no.
I don't charge to come out and
It's a
talk.
way of eating.
They come to me when they're ready,
Right.
and that's when it works.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
They
And
have
I
to be
definitely
ready.
agree with that. I really do. I
Yeah.
do. So it's interesting. But I love what you, I was so excited that you were coming today. I looked forward to it beyond words, because anybody like you who has such a gift to connect,
Thank you.
and we always say nothing is for nothing. You had to be obese,
Mm-hmm.
because look where it led you.
I had to go down the wrong
You
roads
had to do
find
it.
the right one.
That's right. So nothing is ever a waste. I just want to say, definitely rewatch this, because this is something that is going to really save a lot of people's lives. We hear so much of the bad that's going. We are in charge. We get to choose what we want to do for us. And remember, you have the power. Stefanie, how can people get a hold of you?
Plantspiration.org. They can message me at Stefanie@plantspiration.org. I teach classes every week from the 20-year evidence-based Food for Life program with Physicians Committee. I didn't just make this up and make up these recipes. These are put together by doctors, dietitians, nutritionists. I, as a Food for Life instructor with the Physicians Committee, teach that every week. I started a support group for everybody who's living this lifestyle. So when people reverse their disease, they say, can I come back and help you?
Oh,
So that's what this is, a
paying
growing
it forward.
community.
Wow, love that.
Yeah, it's a pay it forward, and we do this private Facebook group. We have Saturday support groups where people get to come together. I mean, my brick and mortar's coming, but COVID made me realize, why wait? Let's start now. People need the interaction. So we started Zooming, putting them together, and people are thriving, and I want more people to thrive like this, and I want to show you how to.
This is wonderful.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Honest to God, we're going to bring you back again.
Please.
Because it's important that we remind everybody how important this way of living. So I would love it if you kept coming on, because we need this. We really do.
I teach people how to eat their plants off. I don't take away anything, and I want to show them how to eat all the foods and flavors that they love. It can be done. I don't want it to be overwhelming. I want to show you how easy it is.
Okay, well, fair enough then.
Yeah.
It doesn't scare me.
Maybe I'll cook for you, too.
Oh, I love it. And I'll eat every bit of it.
Yeah. What do you want? Yeah.
So if you change more to a plant-based, like, a lot of people have heartburn or gut issues, like that will all
Very rapidly.
fix. 'Cause
Very
I
rapidly.
get heartburn like every day.
It's definitely what you're eating. It's people think it's the tomato. I lived on Tums. I took Tums every day. Tums, stool softeners, anti-inflammatories, blood pressure pills. It's just the food, and when we put that fire out, you're gonna feel so much better. That poor esophagus is on fire. So I almost want to just get into it. You need some oats for breakfast with a little bit of soy milk and some fruit. Have a nice wrap for lunch. Salads, sure, but we better see some beans on there, loaded vegetables. Pasta with meatless sauce. Maybe you're going out for pizza. Just say no cheese, hold the meat, get the sauce and the veggies on top. Keep it easy. Burritos, go meatless and no cheese. They're just as good. Take these small steps, and you'll notice a difference right away.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
It's not worth feeling like that. This is what I like to say. Look what you're doing. You're filming this so that we can share this with more people. You have a superpower. Your job is getting this out to more people. We need you around for a long time.
Yes.
So get better, please, so we can do more of this, and it doesn't impact like how awesome you are.
There you go. Sold.
I'm a plant interventionist.
Doing that, I just haven't really given up fully on meat. I already changed a lot of stuff.
Wow. The biggest thing people do is they go into it with a diet mentality. They start restricting. They keep it small. No.
See, I
Go
don't.
all the way.
Honestly, it's not a diet. It's a change
It's a
of
lifestyle.
life.
Yeah.
That's it. You're changing the way you are choosing to eat.
We were eating the same 3 dead animals, okay? And I'm not shaming. I ate them. I did it. I ate the same way. I'm only saying these words to kind of rip Band-Aids off and be some open-mindedness. The same 3 things. We're eating 80,000 different plants now. More cuisines than I've ever, I didn't even know some of these foods existed. I'm whipping up Indian dishes, Thai dishes. I thought you could only order that stuff. My kitchen has become I always do my classes and say, you guys, it smells like a fancy restaurant in here. I'm a better cook from it.
I bet you are, because of
Yeah.
everything that you're experimenting now and what you've mastered.
And you've become more mindful. When you start, it comes in phases for people. Always, each week, somebody says, I was at the deli and suddenly it hit me, and I think, I know what they're going to say. Here's that mindfulness you're talking about. We've desensitized ourselves so much. They ship the animals at night. We don't talk. If a kid had the opportunity to pick an animal for dinner or pasta, guess what they're going to pick?
They're going to pick pasta.
Yeah, because they don't want to know what happened to that animal.
No.
We've desensitized them. So if we're going to go to mindfulness, think about that while you're making your next meal.
Oh, I
Nothing
agree.
needs to suffer
I don't
in
like
order for
suffering.
us to thrive.
You're right, and that's very true.
Yeah.
Nothing needs to suffer is
And it's
completely
cheaper.
right.
And you guys are going to need to eat this cheap food because your pants will fall off if you keep
That-
eating your
that-
plants off.
That's the reward.
Yeah.
You're losing weight.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
comes naturally, honestly.
Yeah.
People come to the weight or for the health, whatever the reason is, they don't realize everything's happening all at once. This is not a
so
diet,
true.
it's a lifestyle. And it feels good. That's why I'm here talking about it.
Oh,
Thank you.
you can listen to her all day. Love her.
Thank you.
Stephanie, thank you. Beyond words. You're
Thank you.
coming back again.
Please.
We wish you continued abundance of sweet success, as it's going to be a lot. You're going to have to hire people because you're going to need to do it. But I see great things for you, and keep going. And we are very, very lucky to have you. Thank you.
Pleasure's all mine, Susan.
I mean
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
My goodness. Bless you. Love you. Thank you.